She was one of the most famous royal children ever painted. Golden hair, innocent eyes, a face frozen in time by history's greatest artist. But what those paintings never showed was a body slowly collapsing from the inside. This is not a story of luxury. This is not a story of privilege. This is a story of a little girl born into absolute power and sacrificed to one of the most dangerous obsessions in human history, an obsession with pure blood. Her name was Margarita Teresa of Spain. And long before she could speak, her fate was already decided. Margarita Teresa was born on July 12, 1651, inside Madrid's magnificent Royal Alcázar. At the time, Spain was a global superpower. It ruled large parts of Europe, most of the Americas, and controlled vast global trade routes. Her father, King Philip IV, was one of the most powerful men alive. Her mother was Mariana of Austria. But here is the first dark truth. Mariana was not just Philip's wife. She was his niece. This marriage was not unusual for the Habsburgs. For generations, they believed that marrying within the family preserved their divine right to rule, keeping power consolidated and their bloodline pure. In reality, it was slowly killing them. Margarita Teresa was born directly into this genetic disaster. The Habsburg family had ruled Europe for centuries. They were a dynasty of immense power and prestige, but behind their golden crowns was a terrifying pattern. Cousins marrying cousins, uncles marrying nieces, brothers and sisters betrothed through blood. This continuous inbreeding created severe genetic damage. The most visible sign was the infamous Habsburg jaw, protruding chin that made it difficult to speak, eat, or even breathe properly. But the real damage was invisible, lurking beneath the surface. Weak immune systems, deformed internal organs, high rates of infertility, and crippling mental disabilities plagued the family line. By the time of Margarita's birth, the dynasty was already showing signs of collapse. Doctors noticed early on that the little princess was small for her age, frequently ill, and extremely fragile, but no one dared to speak openly about the cause. To admit the truth about the princess's health would be to admit that the royal family's obsession was a curse. It would mean admitting that the empire itself was built on a foundation of genetic decay. So, the truth was hidden behind a wall of silence and ceremony. Margarita Teresa became famous, not through politics or power, but through art. The legendary court painter, Diego Velázquez, painted her again and again, capturing her at different stages of her young life. His most famous work, the masterpiece known as Los Meninos, placed Margarita directly at its center, bathed in light, the focal point of the entire royal court. To Europe, she became a symbol of innocence, the beautiful future of Spain, and living proof that the Habsburg line would survive and continue its reign. But paintings hide reality. While the world saw a cherished princess, the truth behind the scenes was far grimmer. She endured constant, often painful, medical treatments for her various ailments. She was isolated from the normal activities and friendships of other children. And from a very young age, she lived under extreme pressure. Margarita Teresa was not being raised to live a full life. She was being raised for one purpose: to reproduce. And this is where her story turns truly disturbing. By the time Margarita Teresa was just 3 years old, her marriage was already arranged. The ink was dry on the contract that would define the rest of her short life. Her future husband was to be Leopold I, the Holy Roman Emperor. And who was Leopold? He was her maternal uncle. Another incestuous union designed to keep the family's power absolute. The reason was cold and simple: unite the Spanish and Austrian Habsburg lands, maintain a stranglehold on European politics, and prevent any outsiders from inheriting their vast territories. Margarita had no choice. Her body, her future, her life, none of it was her own. While Margarita was growing up, something terrifying was happening back in the Spanish court. Her younger brother, Charles II, was born, and he was severely disabled. He could barely walk. He struggled to speak coherently, and he suffered from constant, debilitating illnesses his entire life. He was the living embodiment of the Habsburg genetic curse. In the hushed corridors of the palace, doctors whispered a truth that no one wanted to hear out loud. This dynasty cannot survive. The royal bloodline was on the verge of extinction. Suddenly, Margarita Teresa was no longer just another princess. She was the last functioning hope of the Spanish Habsburgs. The pressure on her became unbearable. She was the only one who seemed healthy enough to produce a viable heir and save the family from its self-inflicted doom. At just 15 years old, Margarita Teresa was sent away to Vienna. She was forced to leave behind her homeland, her language, and everything she had ever known. She traveled to a foreign court to marry her uncle, Leopold I. By all historical accounts, Leopold treated her kindly. He was genuinely fond of his young bride. But kindness could not fix genetics. Kindness could not reverse the damage that had been done over generations. She was a sick child forced into the role of a wife and a queen, and her body simply could not handle the strain. The moment she arrived in Vienna, the demands began. She was expected to produce heirs immediately. Her life became a cycle of pregnancy and childbirth. She endured multiple pregnancies, severe hemorrhaging, chronic infections, and devastating emotional breakdowns. Out of 6 pregnancies, only one child, a daughter, survived infancy. Each childbirth drained her, weakening her already fragile body. Her appearance changed drastically. Her famous golden hair began to thin. Her teeth started to decay. She was overcome with an extreme, chronic weakness. She was still a teenager. On March 12, 1673, Margarita Teresa died. She was only 21 years old. Her body was completely exhausted, broken by the relentless demands placed upon it. The court doctors could do nothing. She died quietly, far from her home in Spain, having given everything to a dynasty that never truly protected her. After her death, history delivered its final, cruel irony. Her disabled brother, Charles II, became the King of Spain. As predicted, he died childless, and with him, the Spanish Habsburg dynasty ended forever. All the inbreeding, all the suffering, all the sacrifices made by girls like Margarita, it was all for nothing. The great empire they sought to preserve through pure blood fell apart. Today, millions of people visit museums to admire the portraits of Margarita Teresa. They see the beauty, the innocence, the regal child captured in Velázquez's paint. But now, you know the truth. She was not lucky to be born a royal. She was trapped. Her life stands as a warning, carved into the pages of history. When power matters more than humanity, even crowns become prisons, and bloodlines become graves. Margarita Teresa did not die young. She was never allowed to truly live. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as moving as we did, please like this video and subscribe for more hidden histories.